Right, nyaya dziri kuramba dzichibuda muri Zimbabwe dzaziyambi-ziyambi. Zviri kunzi ziyambi-ziyambi akatombokondesta akatorambwa kaviri kese akaluza maprimary election kuzvimba ari kuZANU-PF ikoko. Zviri kunzi akabva apa odha yerirani ikoko mushure mekunge anyadziswa. Zviri kunzi izvozvi tiri kuona kuti arikuda kufosa 210 constituencies kuti amende constitution pabhiu rake irori. Zvinova zvinhu siririsa muri Zimbabwe. Regai tipinde munyaya zvizere tinyatsoonesana zvizere, tipinde tichitomudhodhonya tichimunzwisa kumudyisa chifumuro ziyambi-ziyambi zvamanje manje. Right, vanhu vari kupopota kunze kumuri Zimbabwe. Hapana general vari kupopota panapa kuti UI4 vari kutaura ziyambi-ziyambi. Ziyambi-ziyambi is misleading the nation by pretending the election cycle and term limits are different when they are in fact the same thing in practice. A term ends when the election are held. So if you move elections from 5 years to 7 years, you have automatically extended one term from 5 to 7 years, meaning 2 terms become 14 years instead of 10. That is a direct extension of presidential tenure, even if the number 2 terms remain returning on paper. Term limits are defined not just by how many terms, but by how many long each term lasts. So changing the election cycle is effectively changing term limits, and doing that without a referendum is denying citizens their constitutional right to decide how long leaders stay in power. So muri Zimbabwe ndo nyaya iripo. Vaziyambi-ziyambi vari kuzama pavanogona napo kuda kutsotsa muri Zimbabwe, kuda kuita sei, kuda kuorchestrata here, kuda kudii. Saka zviri kuramba muri Zimbabwe apa vari kumhanya vachiti aiwa toda kuchinja election cycle kuti yange iri pa5 touyu, but tirongobudisa pachena kuti its automatically kuti makutoextenda term musina kuita referendum. So muri Zimbabwe zvinhu izvi zvichakonzeresa nyonga-nyonga kana kusungwa kwana ziyambi-ziyambi pamwe chete naED pachavo vakadaro paukama hwavo.
Ndora kuti instead of changing the whole constitution uncle, because Nyama projects, was it not easy, cheaper for them, because ZANU-PF knows it in the majority, to carry on with the elections, our daughter Kanzurwa, Nivano. Vovotora nevanhu vavo vavanoti their majority voita carry on ema-projects anko kana kuti within ZANU-PF vachongoita carry on ema-projects. I would think that was the easiest. Zvisina headache, zvisina madebates atakutaura anayo dare ratinaro. It was easy for them to do. But again, mubvunzo wandoda kubvunza ndewekuti kana iri nyaya yema-projects really without any hidden agenda zviriko kumashure kuno, waita kubata ma-sections anoita chekuita nearmy nema-chiefs nekuti president anoelectwa nema-MPs takuzvibatire izvi because hazvinei chekuita nema-projects anko. Ma-projects, yes, we can, as a country we can agree but 2 years obva waenda oita ma-projects ake, handisi kuti ndiri kuti agree.
Pamwe army yacho itoriwo project
Now muri kubata pamuongo, we are together kuti this has got nothing to do with the project. It's clear. Ndosaka ndati ikaita assignment you can actually establish zvoda kuitika panapa kuti no, it's not about zvamuri kutengeserwa kunzi tidzi. But it's quite interesting because takamboitaura nyaya namasi yesterday tikati pane time kana there's a point where they need to justify why they need to change this whole constitution, and
right.
It would be interesting for them to as Ireland to hear their argument. The justification for changing this whole constitution is for the president to finish his terms. But to army, what does it has got to do with the projects? 2 years. What do we have to do that? All my changes are not for my projects like So it doesn't make any sense, but it's quite interesting to see, how is this whole thing going to play. But lastly, it will be interesting to see how ED is going to benefit, even if they sail through, because the constitution is clear on that one. How are they going to twist that one, or to maneuver their way in kupekera zvezveginya kuti vapinde, because it's not going to benefit the sitting president.
Right.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you very much. Am I boy? Do you want to come through?
Baba
Muri say
Makasiwe.
say.
Ndiri right
I
stay.
was.
And madofo akawanda. Manyatsa topic sezvangoita zenzele neside kuita topic. But we're going to be discussing the amendment bill. And then here you've said Professor Moyo versus Mavedzenga debate, your reaction. Nobody is really reacting to the debate. People are reacting to the conversation that has been going, that is prevailing. Saka ndati nditange nekuscowa. And
That's a good
unfortunately,
score.
that's exactly the same thing that happened in the morning. Because what we had someone arguing for and someone who was presented to be arguing against a specific bill. And that's not what happened in the morning. It was the person arguing for did an excellent job for those that want the presidential term changes. They argued very well for that side. But the person arguing against Dr. Mavedzenge missed a huge opportunity to educate the professor what the Constitution allows for that is in the bill and what it does not allow that is in the bill. So there was a missed opportunity. While he's arguing for the right side, he failed to put his argument across. It was really, embarrassing. Kuti mukana wekudila na professor. Okay, we've heard and seen what professor has represented in the past and all that. That's immaterial to what was on the table. What was on the table was the bill and the constitutional issues that are provisions for that bill to be present and alive. So that was a missed opportunity. He spoke very well, very eloquent about what a messy situation is. But he failed to argue against that bill. Ina ndakatomirirawo ndichiita manotsi semugrade 7 kuti ndichatodzidzawo while handina chandadzidza chinowani kubva kuna professor. He argued very well for for what his bidding is for. But this is a debate. We are scoring a debate. I don't agree with the constitutional amendment, but the argument was strong as a debate, not at in a legal perspective, but as a debate, the argument was brilliant. Asi vamavedzenge vamisa opportunity yekuti educator why that bill is illegal and why it has illegalities, plenty of them. He missed an opportunity to educate us all on that. So ndangona hangu kuti we are falling in the same trap.
So when he argued, the position that the professor was putting across to say, the amendments are meant to cure a mischief, and he spelled out, those two mischiefs: the one on toxicity and the one on, ensuring, development. And then, but you're saying that, and then you are saying that when you are
It doesn't. Yeah,
yeah,
he's wrong.
yeah, and then you
Because
are saying that if you are
toxicity
doing
is not cured in the Constitution. It's not. It's not cured at all. It's perpetual.
Yeah. So the point is that if you're doing this for the people, why not go to the people and ask them? Is that not good enough, argument against
No, it's not. in his capacity as someone who's there to deal with the things legally. He failed. That's why I'm saying he failed to articulate, because I wanted to see Kuti, Professor is arguing Kuti, the parliament is representing the
The
people,
people.
and these specific amendments are not amiss. He was arguing, and he went long-winded to try and argue for the term limits. And I actually pleaded with Zenzele Kuti, next time you're bringing Professor, he's a good debater for the topic. He stuck to the topic excellently. If we are scoring on that debate, he stuck to the topic. Mavedzenge failed to stick to the topic, and he generalized like you are highlighting. We wanted to know, Guti, anyatsoti nemo, why that term limit amendment is illegal. That's what Mavedzenge failed to do. He did all sorts of good things, and he was on point on all those things, but he failed on the actual subject of the debate.
Right.
So while Professor's arguments, they were very on point for what he's arguing for, while legally they were wrong. That's what Mavedzenge missed an opportunity to deal with. The illegality of the changes. The bill itself is laced with a lot of legal amendments which do not require a referendum, which is how Professor Moyo and co are trying to sneak these other things into play. And Mavedzenge is correct in saying constitutional coup. And that's the same thing that happened in 2017. And this time it was the same opposition arguing against the amendments that were using the constitution and even impeachment to justify the removal of Mugabe without following due process. So we're seeing it all over again. But right now, the roles are reversed. And so,
Right.
unfortunately, in terms of scoring the debate,
Uh-huh.
Professor Moyo 1, Mavedzenge 0. But in terms of the legal position of Mavedzenge versus Dr. Mavedzenge 1, Professor 0. But in terms of, so that's the differentiation. But if we're talking in generality of terms,
Right.
Obviously, Professor was talking horse and bull, horse chakuti and bull chakuti.
I don't
Anyways,
know
I'm on
what
the road.
you
Ngavamiswe
Kulingoti ga,
madhodha.
I
ga, ga,
don't
ga.
know what guy and straight to the point.
Apa darambo tanga